And the New York Jets have won the Super Bowl. And the Lombardi Trophy will be in the Big Apple. For the victors getting to host that Lombardi Trophy, you know, we've talked to guys that have done it, and they say there's no better feeling in sports.
I don't know how there can be. The journey to get to this game is incredible. And then to finally break through and win it when all eyes are on this game alone because there's nothing else going on, that's just got to be absolutely amazing. The task, incredible. The accomplishment, forever.
Hey, it's showtime down here at the GOI show. We're here for a little postseason recap, talk about some news and notes in the off season, and kicking off season 22 here. So where John and I left off were in the wild card matches. It was me versus the Jets. John correctly said the Jets. The Jets did end my season there, went on to the Super Bowl. That represented the AFC side. The NFC side was TK and Ray. I think you said TK. I said Connor was going to beat TK. TK beat Connor in the divisional round. Ray correctly won, and it was a close game. We did predict a close game, but Ray would win, and it was the rematch of rematches for the Jets and the Panthers in the Super Bowl. And the Jets stole it again from Ray. Wow. I don't think I've seen this before, but twice in a row here, Ray and Peter face off. No wonder they communicate, postseason and try to get one in the different divisions of each other. But we'll hopefully lock that up next time, as they should both be picking last here in our next draft. So anyhow, congrats to the Jets for a nice win. I think it was 25-20, something like that was the final. And Super Bowl back-to-back champs. Now has more than Ray since he's been in the league. 4 trophies now since Peter's been in the league. Ray only has 3 in that same time period. So congrats to Peter on his 4th ring. And we'll start it over here, get into season 22 here. News and notes. John, we got a couple of rule changes. John, what do you got for us?
Well, we had 2. So one of them was just really a clarification. So, and we've kind of passed the season now of contract buyouts, but going forward, we added some language to it where the only contract buyouts you can complete are ones that were signed by previous management. So not somebody that you have signed. Because we don't want folks making crazy contracts to steal a player in free agency, knowing they're just going to buy them out in a year. So if you sign them, you own them, and you're going to see it through all the way. We have some other things in the works, but that as far as the contract buyout goes, just bear that in mind going forward. And especially now while free agency is happening, if you make a crazy deal on a 30-year-old, you're going to probably still have him when he's 35 on oxygen on the sidelines. And you might be paying big money for a guy that's number 3 or 4 in the depth chart. So bear that in mind. And then the other one was, wasn't really a new rule either, but just something that was kind of brought to light. We've always had the rule that you can't, kind of fake engaging on a rush to tie up an offensive lineman just to back off. There's very specific algorithms in the game. We're playing a video game. So if you take a step forward and touch an offensive lineman, that changes the entire offensive line's assignments. And so people were good about not deliberately doing that. But what happens is that if you have a guy that's set to a blitz and they hike the ball and you're not pulling back on that stick, the game kind of auto pilots the guy into the offensive lineman, and it has the same effect. So basically, if you touch, you're stuck. Switch off to a different player, or manually take them in all the way. The exceptions, obviously, if it's a screen pass, once the ball leaves the pocket, you can do whatever you want. So if it's a screen pass, but like somebody asked, well, what if it's play action? Well, you got fooled. You sent a guy in for a blitz and you got fooled. That's the whole point of a play action. So, the remedy is, if you don't want to get stuck in that situation, stop stuffing your linebacker between defensive tackles on the line. Stand back, get behind them. There's different reasons to do it. You might do it because you want the guy to think you're on a run blitz. You want the guy to think you're going to turbo blitz. That's fine. But if you touch, you're a blitzing. So, because like I said, we want to beat each other. We don't want to trick the AI. So, and like I said, it's just something that we're going to pay a lot more attention to. And of course, we ask all the GMs, if you're playing somebody, you notice that behavior. The way we do it in our friendly league, our league with brotherhood, is pause the game, point out to your opponent that, hey, I think you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. And if they correct it, we all move on. You don't let them do it all game and then get butthurt. And at the end of the game, because once the game's over, the game's over. So give everybody a chance, because we're all human. And I mean, I've even seen myself and Phil and Ray and Peter, we've all broken a rule inadvertently. You're in the game and you're scrambling around and you throw a foot outside the numbers. It wasn't intentional, so let's help each other to be accountable. But if you do break the rule and you don't correct that behavior, there will be punishment.
Yeah, correct. Speaking of the contract stuff, we know who the violators are. Connor. As far as the rule changes, I was just going to mention, something that we've seen pop up recently. This is our first chance to try to address it, and call out that rule first, and also the protocol. Pause the game, mention it, make sure your opponent's aware of what's going on so they can correct that behavior. And then after that, if you feel it still goes on, you can, at that point, so your challenge, I think, two challenges per season, I think you're given, to call out in your own game, something to go on and to call us to review stuff. So, that's all I was going to mention for that stuff. And let's hit some of this off-season news and notes here. We got some big off-season moves. We're going to start with some trades that got approved. We'll just start with most recent and kind of go from there. Seahawks sending halfback Kenneth Walker, who picked up my second in the league leading rusher, ETN. So he doesn't need Kenneth Walker anymore. So he unloads Kenneth Walker at 94 speed, 95 acceleration, 93 agility, 92 overall. And the Falcons pick him up. Falcons are sending a current 115, a future first round pick, and a current second round pick. So that's a big move there. So obviously Seahawks is, in the game here, making some good changes here after last season, another playoff run for him that made the playoffs after winning the NFC West. I don't know if he would have made it had he not been in the NFC West. So that's interesting there. Let's see other trades that kind of make the headlines for us. Justin Fields. The Bears are going to trade Justin Fields. Big time young quarterback, lots of speed. And let's see here. The Bengals are giving up a current 221. For anybody that doesn't know, Tom, who's running the Bengals, is a natural Bears fan. So maybe this is a little Bears hype here coming up. So you got the current 2-1, and he is also giving a good cornerback, Cam Taylor-Britt, 81 overall to pull that one off. Let's see here. I'll run through them, John, and then we'll have you highlight maybe some of the ones that you think are going to make the biggest impact.
Well, I think that Joe Burrow trade is a pretty big mover.
Yep, that's the one I'm getting to next here. So we got 4 first-round picks. That's what a 96 overall Joe Burrow is worth. Trade committee felt that was fair. And that's huge. So Joe Burrow is going to suit up for the Bucks. He's going over to E-Man's team, and the Bengals are picking up 3 current first-round picks plus a future first-round pick. Wow, what a monster. That's huge. So this is going to be a big offseason, obviously, for Bengals. That one's big time. Let's see here. Other ones that kind of moved the Richter scale. Bucks traded away Tristan Wirth, 94 overall right tackle, and he's getting back a slew of other players from Connor, plus a current first and a future first, as well as a slew of, centers, strong safeties, right ends.
Wonder how Joe Burrow feels. They bring him to Tampa Bay and then ship their best defensive lineman away. And hopefully he's not going to be running for his life.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, E-Man's got the passing skills to make that, situation be the best it could be. Let's see here. I was curious about the Ray trade. What do you think about this one here? So Ray gave up a tight end, Jelani Wood, 76 overall, left end, Derek Brown, 86 overall, and got quarterback Malik Willis, and a left end that's kind of nothing. But I'm curious because we saw Tommy complain in the chat. Do you feel this is kind of Ray saying Malik Willis is actually pretty good and I'll prove it to you?
Well, Ray likes to challenge himself. He's done that before. I think, didn't he do it with Jordan Love? I think one of his Super Bowl runs. And Ray likes certain characteristics about certain players, regardless of the overall. So, and we're going to have two of these that we'll be able to have a little fun with during the season, because if Emmanuel goes up there and lights it up with Burrow after Tom complained about Burrow, I think, right? Tom was complaining when he had Burrow. Obviously, why would he trade him if he didn't? And now you're going to have the same thing. If Malik Willis goes over to the Panthers and does well, we'll be able to have some fun with Tom and Tommy.
Yeah.
So.
Another one that moved the Richter scale, and you can talk about why you made this move. Current 1-1 was going to the Dolphins, and John, you traded away to the Chiefs, got it only backed up to 110, and got another future first 115 for next season. Plus you got some other goodies: right tackle, right guard Trey Smith, 83 overall, good middle linebacker with 93 acceleration, cornerback Greg Spruce with good speed, good acceleration. What led you to that decision?
Well, at the end of the day, the Dolphins, first of all, were broke. So we needed to bring in some people, and the first round, the first pick of the draft is usually somebody that you think is going to be a franchise changer. And, we just picked up a quarterback. We really didn't have that one player. We had 2 or 3 spots that needed some help. So this allowed us to get a couple of good young players. It helped my finances. And like you said, I only backed up 10. And I'm not overly concerned that I'm going to lose 1 or 2 of the guys that I'm targeting to those first 10 spots. I think I'm going to be okay. And then as the side benefit, and I mean this tongue in cheek, but this trade imploded like Connor's entire offseason plan. So because he had a trade worked out with the Chiefs, and he was using that trade to make another trade, and he woke up that morning, saw my trade, and he was in my DMs for a good couple minutes. So,
yeah, that's funny. Connor sent a trade my way too, and I just told him the pieces aren't there to make this happen. And so, I don't know. Connor got a little emotional, sent me some sad emojis, but hey, I mean, when it's not there, it's not there. I mean, it's nothing personal. It's business, and what the pieces I need didn't have or weren't available due to trade restrictions. So is what it is. The best cornerback in the league, Jalen Ramsey. The Rams trade him. Of course, the Jets need more cornerbacks, but hey, let's get the best one in the league. Two current first round picks, a cornerback little value, and a middle linebacker of little value. I personally still voted no. I mean, the cornerbacks have been, I didn't feel it was enough. I felt Jets should have given up more, but obviously the league felt strongly enough that was enough. What are your thoughts?
Well, one of the things that I learned early on is, generally speaking, the winner of the trade is whoever gets the best player. So, there's circumstances where, like me, you need to get a number of players, but I wouldn't call that a winning trade. That's a trade of necessity. So I think in this case, Peter, like you said, doesn't need any more cornerbacks, because who else? It was Peter and the Steelers. So Pittsburgh, loaded up with a couple good cornerbacks too. So I think some folks might have been watching Peter, and just like we do with a good barbecue, you steal the recipe. So it looks like a lot of people probably saw how much having those good, especially good press cornerbacks, are going to help you down the road. So it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out, but I definitely think Peter won that one too.
Another good one that moved the Richter scale. Chargers send away QB Justin Herbert, 93 overall, 98 throw-in power, got some speed, still young. Packers are sent 3 first-round picks plus their young quarterback that they picked up in the draft last year, Jamal Gunter. Who won that trade?
Well, again, I think Justin is the known commodity. So at least on paper right now, you get the marquee player in that deal. If I was a Packers fan, I'd be a lot more excited. The Chargers fan, I'm probably hopeful, but I don't know if they're excited yet. So we'll have to see how that goes.
And that's pretty much all the big trades that we have right now, John. I mean, and I also want to give a shout out to Matt. He put some good commentary together in the sports news section about some of these trades. So just shout out for him for all those articles. The postseason articles were fun. He did some coaches interviews in the playoffs, which hasn't been done in a while. So kudos to Matt. He's got a good skill in writing, good humor to go with it. So big shout out to him for some of those articles. The next thing we wanted to touch on are some of the free agent signings that we have. John's got it pulled up in game, so I'll let him lead this part.
I guess the biggest one, Phil, is going to be the biggest name to get moved this year with Nick Bosa signing on with the New York Giants. So he's probably going to give Connor and the Commanders, Riley, they better get ready, and Marty, all 3 of those in the NFC East. Having Nick Bosa sign on, he signed a 5-year, $108 million deal. Well, $108 million salary and $105 million bonus. And the worst part is that he was still only 3/4 of a green bar. I don't know what that man wanted. So,
well, what I can tell you about Bosa is he didn't want to come to Jacksonville, so I didn't even attempt them. But I did look at his stats, which is absolutely incredible. 94 acceleration, which is unreal. 99 awareness, 96 play rec, 95 power move, 99 finesse move. I mean, the dude's just a beast. So,
and he's only 26. He's still only 26.
Connor needs to brush up on, getting that ball out fast, even though he's got a different quarterback this season coming in. But that's wow, that's a monster. Look, for me, I'm just glad he didn't go to the Jets. I mean, the Jets, everybody seemed to want to go to the Jets for this offseason and, obviously with the trades, but just more so the free agents seem to be, hey, we want to go to a Super Bowl winner,
Right. Yeah.
Who else?
The next biggest one, not always sexy because it's not it's not a playmaker, but 91 overall, Lane Johnson, he signed on with Mo. So Mo converted some euros to dollars and ponied up about 115 million to get Lane Johnson to protect the right side. So he's on a 5-year deal. Kind of old, 34. So I think Mo's hoping he retires probably in a year or two, but he's 91 overall right now. And even though he had no interest in going over to the Saints, the money talked and he walked. So
yeah, I was all in on Lane Johnson as well. And the Jets, I know we're all in on Lane Johnson. So, again, I'm just happy he didn't go to the Jets. I'm a little disappointed I didn't get him. He would have been a fantastic fit for my offensive line, but is what it is. We just got to keep moving forward. But, yeah, the guy's a beast. I mean, 91 run block, pass block 92. I mean, the guy's just a all-star stud all the way across the board still, even at 34.
His awareness is 96, which means he sees every blitz as it comes. So he's never gonna be the guy standing with his hands up. So,
yeah.
And he's getting used just for men because his goatee is way too dark. His goatee should look like yours at his age. So,
yeah. Well, yeah, sure.
So, all right. So our next one, we actually had a younger guy move. So this is nice. So to the like the Patriots need more offense, right? but they got T. Higgins to sign up, so he's bringing his 6'4" frame up to New England on a 5-year deal. That was approximately another $100 million deal. So again, pretty tall, pretty physical player.
Yeah, and I think I saw what he did for Tom. He that first year, and then he went over to the Titans, and that little lob pass that everybody seems to love to do this season or this edition. 97 jump, and he's 6'4", so he's going to be bringing the ball in quite a bit. He's not a super fast guy, 88 speed, 88 acceleration, but obviously if it's a high ball in the air, more times than not, he's probably going to win that battle coming down with it. So that could be dangerous, just because we have already seen through 2 full seasons now, Latham's ability to pass the ball is top tier. So yeah, that's huge.
So, and then we just talked about the trade that the Chargers did. Well, the Chargers had to bring a weapon in for their new quarterback. I wonder if Herbert is pretty upset about that. They brought in Calvin Ridley, 29 years old, coming off gambling addiction problems or whatever it was. So, but 93 speed, fast guy. He's also on a 5-year deal, about $110 million at 29 years of age. So he's on board there. And he's an 87 overall, joining the Chargers.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley was on my team the past 2 seasons. He's a beast. He's fantastic. Wherever you want to use him, speed down the stretch, or great running routes. So we definitely threw him the ball a lot. What he asked for, contract wise, for our main scheme, it didn't make a lot of sense to pony up that money. So we let him test that free agency market, and that's a big signing for the Chargers, who love to pass the ball, and got a new quarterback coming in, so he's going to need some weapons, and Ridley's going to be fantastic for him.
Nice. So next up, we switched to defense, and we already mentioned Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh loaded up. He stole. We were in a little bit of bidding war trying to get Greedy Williams. He also picked up Jonathan Jones from the Patriots, who, when he was at the Patriots, Jonathan was a star, but now he's a superstar. He's getting a little long in the tooth. He's 30 years old, but still blazing speed, 93 speed. But a more reasonable contract, 3 years, about $45 million. So that was definitely a good catch, because he can play the outside, but he's really good lined up in the slot too. So.
Yeah, and that just shows. I like seeing that it only took 3 years to get him, and that's why you got to go through all the fittings for your team, for every player out there, and see where you might be able to bump up some. But yeah, I think that's great. And the Steelers, I think, is a kind of relatively new. I think he came in week 7 last season. So, he's about 500 right now, but a nice, good off season, as he's already on to, can make a big difference. And that division's tough. Everybody in there is good, right? You got, the Bengals are brutal with Tom. You got the Browns, Jacob. The Ravens have been in the playoffs, and then now Steelers. So that's going to be just a knockdown, drag out 2 times a year. Every game's going to be, tough sledding in the AFC North there, because just everybody's on the same page there. I'm excited to see how it turns out this next season.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and then sliding down, we've got 2 left that we're going to look at. So the next one is my loss, is Phil's gain. So I sent Xavier Howard. I had to send him back, and we just owed him way too much money. I wanted to keep him, but there was no way around it for me, so we had to cut him. So Phil picked him up. He's a former All-Star. Towards the end of his career, 31, but Phil grabbed him on a very reasonable 2-year, $24 million package. So Phil, this is your guy now.
Yeah, obviously the acceleration was the turn on 94. I'm not real excited about the speed overall, 88, but I think just having a solid veteran player that probably for him, I'm going to have him line up in the slot. I traded away my X Factor, who I drafted last season in the draft, cornerback. So I needed a little bit more help in the cornerback department. And he just had some stats that I needed, and it was a good fit for the team. So we went ahead and pulled the trigger on that.
And then to round us off today, the last big signing we have is Miles Jack. So Miles still a solid player, 85 star caliber, 28 years old. So he's still got quite a bit left in the tank, and he signed a 5-year deal up there with Kobe and the Seattle Seahawks. So about almost just shy of $50 million. So, and I think Miles can still make a difference in the middle of the field.
Yeah, he was on my radar. We also need a middle linebacker after getting rid of Lua Khan in a trade as well to kind of bolster back up our cornerbacks. But yeah, Miles Jack is fantastic. I mean, 88 Excel is a little low for where you really want a middle linebacker to be. But outside of that, I mean, he's got the tackle, the play rec, you know, the hit power, the pursuit, everything, awareness. So everything else you want, especially if you're not going to use a linebacker, to be a natural fit for you know, that position. So yeah.
I'm wondering, I just wanted to take a quick look and see. Looks like trying to see who the biggest looks like the biggest player that hasn't been signed yet is Austin Eckler. He's still out there yet. He's got somebody, well, you got one team looking at him right now, but he's still a 91 speed, 92 acceleration, 91 carry. So they'll do okay for somebody. Getting a little old though. Tyler Lockett's still out there at 89. One team's interested in him right now. It's showing. Then Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott, your favorite kicker, Justin Tucker. So there's still some big names out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, and I think that's normal, right? Because I know I went big on a couple of players I really wanted and I missed on. So, you know, that just freed up a little bit of money to try to shore together the best team I can here on the couple of last days of free agency, fill in some gaps with some money I have left over, because what the heck is it going to do just sitting in my bank account next season? So, you know, we'll just try to piece together some last minute deals here and make the best team we can to get season 22 started. And yeah, it's going to be another fun season. Lots of talent. Again, the couple of guys we pulled in, Riley and the Raiders, are going to be good additions to the league. So if you think you're getting off, you know, easy next season, no, you're going to have to battle every single week. And, you know, just like I said, I always say, making the playoffs is a huge success. So whether you lose first round in the playoffs or not, you know, just making the playoffs is a huge success, and you should, you know, pat yourself on the back. Shoot, I mean, even going 500 is great in this league. So, you know, everybody just do your best and encourage others to bring out their best, and you know, stay helping each other, not nitpicking and, you know, getting around each other. The games, I think I saw a meme this week, John, it said, if I want to get frustrated, I play Madden, you know. So I believe that wholeheartedly as well, and we just got to remember we're playing a real person on the other end who's doing their best as well to win the game. So
we're all playing the same game. So I mean, you know, I think we've proven at this point, beyond a shadow of a doubt, there's no hidden agendas in the game. Like, I mean, if it was, there's no way the Jets should be winning Super Bowls. If they had pre-programmed who's going to win, there is no way the Jets are going to the Super Bowl. You know, they're one of the worst teams in the NFL, or have been. You know, maybe they'll change, so don't get upset, Jets fans. But you know, I mean, at the end of the day, we all have the stupid fumbles. We all have the quarterback throwing the ball 2 yards to a defensive tackle that intercepts it. We all have that. That's the randomness of it. So if you want to go up and win the Super Bowl, you have to go into games expecting to beat people by 2 touchdowns. That's what you notice. The guys that are in it all the time, like yourself, you guys typically win your games by a 2-score margin. If you're trying to win the games by 3 points, then there is going to be a certain luck of the draw. Just like in the NFL, we have butt fumbles and helmet catches and all that stuff. I mean, none of that stuff is scripted in, you know, and I think that's what they try to simulate in the game, but the video doesn't always match what they're trying to do. So, but just stay positive. That's what we're here for. Have fun. You know, it'll balance out.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, exactly. We just saw it with FAU. They had in the NCAA tournament, the closest margin of victory. And then right there in the Final Four, they lost by 1 in the final second of the game. So it does come back to bite you if you are always playing close games. There's no way to win them all. But we're all doing our best. And the league was created to try to be that positive support for each other outside of the game, because the game is brutally frustrating, if we're being honest sometimes. And you just got to kind of battle through it. I don't know. I listen to music while I play. I don't even have the sound on, because when something goes bad, I just start jamming to the music and we'll just pick it up the next down. I don't even let the announcers and the game and the stadium noise get in my head. I just hey, this is what I got to do, and I got to execute, especially when that momentum bar gets going against you. It's insane sometimes. You just got to pull together some plays, get some first down, knock that momentum bar down just a hair, and then from there you kind of can trickle it back into your favor. So just stay battling, guys. We got a great league and a lot of really good GMs and players, and so it really does take the best you can do to just pull out a win, and then it's twice that amount in the playoffs. So just stay grooving. I always love players like Jake and yourself, John, and several others that just can stay positive. I think Kobe said it one week in the chat. He commended everybody who after a loss can just write their game summary. So that's a big deal as well, to keep things moving and keep things staying positive, because we have, in my mind, the hands down best league ever created, GM wise, top to bottom, and that's really due to all of you guys. The only other closing note I have, John, is I just want to thank the folks that are putting together some articles. I know Ryan's displaying one up here now, taking some head coaches in real life and comparing them to who they would be in our GOI coach GM scheme. So that's going to be a fun one. Matt's done a lot of fantastic articles as well, and we'll have him and Ryan and others on the show this season. Keep sending me any clips that you have, and then if you want to be on the show, we shoot on Saturdays around noonish. So if you're free on Saturdays and can join us, let me know, and we'll have you on the show this season. So,
and also a shout out to the guys that ran the bookie all season long. They did a great job. I mean, it was really well done. So
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Ray did fantastic creating the spreads, and Brandon from the Rams did a fantastic job creating the site. Even the playoff tournament site was fun to put a bracket together and see, who everybody had winning and whatnot. So yeah, the league is fantastic. I want to get back into writing some articles myself. We're coming off my busy season in my dealership world, and my job world. So, we'll see what kind of stuff we got in store, but just want to thank everybody for picking up some slack and, encouraging us when we do put shows together and, everything else. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone.